All right, this video is to show you some formatting things and how to set up your tables and set up your project to create graphs that eventually you will put in this first tab called First Draft Graphs. If you don't have one of these, just push plus, rename it to First Draft Graphs, and slide it over into the front. If you already have one called First Draft Graphs, just delete the old one. It was kind of this one, I believe, but just delete it and create a new one. This is where you'll put all your graphs on a normal individual portion of this assignment. During these NTI non-instructional days, we'll change that just a little bit, but you can still be putting all your graphs on this page right here, the ones that you're wanting me to grade. We're actually going to copy and paste them onto a different document day by day during these non-traditional instruction days, but that's the only difference. So in your raw data, first thing, right-click on column A and insert one to the left. You might want to make it a little bit bigger because all of the titles of your tables will go in this column. You also will probably, whoops, didn't want to do that. You'll also want to highlight B through N here, highlight those columns, and then resize them. So get this little button to give you the resizing option. Probably want to change this font right here to a smaller font, say font size 12 or something. And then you can kind of see what size you want them to be. Well, I'm not wanting to move it, I'm wanting to highlight. There we go. Make it just a little bit bigger, and there we go. Now, at least in one screen, we can see top to bottom. We can see all the data and not have to scroll left and right. So we can even make our column A just a little bit bigger if we wanted. Now, I would probably copy all of these right here. Copy, which is right-click, copy, or Control-C for a shortcut, and go to the bottom and start making some tables. So first table I'm going to make is for class averages. In fact, this entire video is for averages only. The next one that will, I'm just going to format this to the right just so I can see it next to my table. I'm also going to grab all these boxes and make them have borders around them just so I can see that that's a table. Then I'm going to copy this and paste it here and make a new one. And this one will be the average of the, let's see, we'll title it Murray State MSU Calculus Group Average. And just for good measures, we'll do one more that we copy and paste. Let's see, put little boxes around this one, reformat, put boxes around this one, and adjust the formatting to right. And we'll do one more of these, copy and paste. Copy and paste. And this one would be, say, MSU, or let's see, how would we title this? Maybe Not College Ready Group Average. Now, I'm getting all this from our Section 2 suggestions file here. Anyone who does not make a 19 on the math, so any 18s or below, or you're not college ready. So when I say not college ready group, I'm going to be looking at anyone who scored 18 or below. Calculus group average, I'm going to be looking at college calculus, anyone who made a 26 or higher, and the average of that group. These are also described down here in a little more detail. But back to the calculating these. There's a couple ways you can collect this data. Up to the top and highlight some boxes. Over here in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see that it's creating an average for you. So you can change, it's creating numbers for you. You can change it to count, you can change it to average, you can change it to any of these options. I want average. So the average of the class of 2009 is highlight all the data, and it is a 19.87. So right here, I can just type 19.9. And you can collect that data class by class. So go over to 2010 and collect this data, and it's 20.49. So 20.49. Now, I would also round that to 20.5. So here's one way to round decimals. You can move the decimal right there, and it'll always be one decimal in that cell, reformat it. Now I'm just going to make up these other numbers so we can get a picture going. This one could be, I don't know, 20.6, 20.9, 21.1, 22, 21.5, 22.4, 22.5, 22.6. Just making up numbers, but 23, 23.1, and this class 23.2. All right, if we highlight all this data and hit insert chart, it will make a picture for us of this data. Looks like it's pretty, slowly rising. We want data labels on this, so over here on the side in series, under customize series, there's a place to add data labels. Looks like the height of this graph is stopping some of these from giving its title, so we need to probably change this axis anyway. The lowest piece of data we have is 19.9, so the minimum on that y-axis, I double-clicked on the y-axis and it brought me to customize the vertical axis here, customize the vertical axis, and change the minimum to 19. Yeah, that's what I thought. Now we see those data labels and make the maximum value 25 or something, 24, 25, whatever. 24 is probably plenty. But with the change of this y-axis, we can now clearly see what's happening here with the made-up data that I made. With the exception of class of 2015 here, this data has been pretty well going up every year. So without one exception, this is an increase in scores every year. Now, I probably want to go up here and change this title to class averages, or maybe MHS class averages or something like that. Make sure I've got the titles the way I want. And then if this is the graph you want me to grade, you would click edit copy, or again, the shortcut is Control-C, and go to that first draft page and hit edit paste. And there you go. There is an average graph that you're wanting me to grade eventually. While we're doing this video, we'll go ahead and show how to get the data for these other two. Just an example or two, because I don't want to fill out the whole chart for you. But the Murray State Calculus Group Average. Murray State Calculus, well, that was 26s and above. So up here, I'll highlight down to the bottom and the last 26 in that data. It says the average is 28.94. So I'd go down here and write 29, or what was it, 28.4? See, I gotta have a better memory than that. 28.9 goes right here. And then you can keep collecting that data in the next group. Anyone who scored 26 or higher, so 29.16, I'd call that 29.2 for one decimal. 29.2, and then keep going and so forth, and you can make the same kind. By the way, this graph that we made over here, I should have shown, and will show now, that you can actually change the style of the graph. So double click on the graph, and over here in setup, there's different styles of graphs that you can choose from. So let's check out what a column graph would look like. Looks pretty good. That data looks, a lot like the line graph, and maybe you like it better. So it's all preference and the whole colors and whatnot. Eventually, when you have multiple sets of data, which will be in another video, actually I can probably just do it in this video too. We can also see how a comparative bar graph, like this one right here, I don't really like the sideways bar graph. You may like them, but I'm not a big fan. But there's a comparative bar graph that we'll look at in just a second, or comparative line graph if there was multiple pieces of data that you could use. So let's take a look at one of those real fast. There's a demo, let's see, demo that has some fictitious data on it that we can use to make this picture. But there's a fake set of data down here that has class averages for 3 different schools. So we could take these 3 different schools, highlight all that data, kind of like maybe the average of the calculus group and the average of the college algebra group and the average of the not ready for college group. If you put all three of those into one table, you'd have a similar insert chart, a similar picture with three sets of data. Once again, we're going to change our y-axis to 19 starting, ending at say 25, because our highest piece of data was like 23 or 24, so maybe ending at 24. It's all relative. You could change it to what you think. And then look at the series. The reason we're changing the y-axis, by the way, is a 1 or 2 point change on the ACT is significant. So without changing the y-axis to start at 19, you don't see these changes as well as you probably should. So I was going to show you the chart style in setup, sorry, the chart type in setup, what it looks like when there's a comparative bar graph versus a comparative line graph. It's preference, but clearly what you can see from this chart and this table now, especially the chart, the actual picture, you can clearly see that Marshall, this is again fake data, but Marshall is going up pretty much every year. And it was about your class of 2014 roughly where they were a little bit below Murray, but then the next year, 2015, they started having higher averages than Murray. You can see fictitious Callaway data where they kind of grew up to 20, but then they kind of stayed there around 20. Had a good year there. Had one good year where they were Murray State Algebra ready, but then the rest was back down around the 20, 20.1, 20.2 range. So anyways, this analyzing the pictures comes later, but this is just a video to show you how to create them. So to recap, we've shown how to find the average for the entire class for the calculus group. The not ready group would be, again, the ones that scored below 19. So I would grab all the data below 19. And they had an average of 16. So I wonder if that average is getting better or worse as the year goes on. So we go over to class of 2010. What was the average of those not ready people? Not ready's average was 15.9. And so forth and so forth. And you could take and make these individual graphs, or you can put them together, kind of like we did right here, using this table right here, or at least the format of this table, and have multiple sets of data on one picture. Okay, so again, you have the calculus group 26 or higher, the business calc group 23 or higher, college algebra 21 or higher, and college statistics 20 or higher to use, or you have the 19 and above, you're just ready for college, or the 18 and below. 18 and below. Anyways, there's some creative average ideas over here as well. But you know, the average of these, the top 25 and the middle 50 and the bottom 25 that you could compare. But right now, we're just trying to get a couple of pictures of averages, and they have to come from this data. You do not have access to other schools' data, like this picture here, until later in the project, but you will get that data eventually. So hopefully that gives you enough in a less than 15-minute video to create all of your average graphs that this year in the non-traditional instruction units will be collected now on a daily basis. So there'll be another video that shows you how to do that. But for now, that's enough for one video.